So, a football player goes viral talking about Russell Wilson and Ciara. Speaking on behalf of, sorry, I just pulled my hair out of a bun. That's what happens. Going viral about how basically Russell Wilson is a simp and Ciara settled. Ciara settled, Russell's a simp. Crazy, because you know when all those men were like, oh, Kevin Samuels, he went mainstream because he was in a Future video. Did y'all not pay attention to what Future said about himself and that so-called like therapy session thing? Did you not hear him when he said that he spends about 2-3 on women, and he was asked 2-300, 2-3,000, 2-300, and 2-3 million on these women, and how he really loved Ciara and really loved Lori Harvey. But did you hear that? Did you hear how much he was spending on just meeting women? Like, that's the literal definition of a simp. The literal definition of a simp came from the streets. It's, what pimps call Johns. That's what it really is. In case you didn't know, it's what pimps called Johns. He's literally out here paying for it transactionally, racking up baby mamas, and Russell has a whole family, a whole marriage, a whole institution. And it's like, oh, you don't go from dealing with a dude like Future to dealing with a dude like Russell. And I'm just like, this is such a perfect example of the bifurcation of cultures between African American men and women, right? Perfect example, because Black women are genuinely proud of Ciara. They are genuinely crushing on Russell Wilson. They think because of having liked a man like Future that you can't like a man like Russell because Russell's a square. Russell's not a square. Russell's a jock. He was the cool guy in high school. He could get all the girls. He's the cool kid. He's the successful guy. Like, he's not a square because he didn't do drugs. I mean, even if you wanted to call it that, the masculinity is clear. You can bet your bottom dollar Russell was not out here spending $2 million a pop on girls he barely knows, getting them pregnant, and moving on to patronize the next one. How do you not see that a literal simp is in front of you? Like, literally where the word comes from, right? Pimps called Johns, simps. How do you not see that the literal word is in front of you in the form of Future, in the form of his confessional, but you're still calling Russell like... It'll always kill me, the fact that Future Jr. is getting that incredible father figure, and so many of these men who are angry at their mothers because they didn't have fathers. I'm just like, that should strike a chord in every Black man when they look at Future's son and they see him having that loving father figure in his life. But instead it's like, oh, get your own kid, get your own kid. And it's like, yeah, he's got his own kid. He's got 2. Well, 3, because Future is still his kid. Little Future is still his kid. That kid is still calling him daddy. I think that is the weirdest thing, and it's the most glaring example of how you have these 2 different cultures where you just have 2 different preferences. So many of these men kick for Future like that because they are like Future, or they want to be like Future. They are like him, or they want to be like him. They aspire to be like him. They like what he is, or what he does with all of his womanizing. And he can afford it. It's the craziest thing, because Russell clearly had the ability but didn't want that for his life. He's not out here tricking off on every little thing that's 21. It's the most contradictory, sickening thing to see a bunch of men who say, we're not all alike. Okay, bet. I will say that for you. Not all. Not all. But then when the resounding message above you is when the resounding message among you is pro Future and anti-Russell, what are we supposed to make of that? What should we make of that?
chocolate. It's either chocolate or it ain't. It's either chocolate or it ain't.